We've got a loaded Broncos show to get to today, but first, if you wish Von Miller was still on the team, like the video, hit that thumbs up icon because even if it was a good move business-wise and you got two great picks for him, still, it's Von Miller. So who doesn't wish he was still on the Broncos? Today's Broncos Breakdown is presented to you by Aura, an all-in-one digital safety company that keeps your wallet and your identity secure while you are online. Plus, they've got a 14-day free trial when you go to aura.com/chatsports. We'll tell you more about their awesome services later on in today's show. But let's check out the menu for today's show because it's pretty busy. First, we got an interesting report coming out that the offense for Denver is being tailored to Russell Wilson, which you think? Of course it is. Plus, Von Miller comments about the Broncos and how he's got a bit of a bittersweet taste in his mouth for this team going into 2022. But first and foremost, help us reach 8,500 subscribers here on the channel. We are just under 250 subs away. I want to cross 8,300 and march right on to 8,500. Hit that big red button and subscribe if you have not already. So let's start things off by talking about Russell Wilson. A tweet that I saw yesterday from Jordan Football, who's got over 100,000 subscribers, so you have some strength in numbers. But Jeremy Fowler with an update saying Broncos are reportedly tailoring their offense around new quarterback Russell Wilson, a source told Jeremy Fowler. Of course you're tailoring your offense around Russell Wilson. That's why you traded almost everything to get this guy, right? 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and 3 players. Yeah, no shit you're going to bring Russell Wilson in and tailor everything around him. It'd be a fireable offense to bring Russ in and go, well, we're actually not going to really adapt to our new all-pro quarterback, so just roll with the punches and go with what you got here. Here's what an AFC exec put in Jeremy Fowler's write-up. I think you'll see a rejuvenated Russ with the Broncos. They are tailoring things around him. He'll have more ownership of the offense and a good supporting cast. He will get his spot back. I think what he's looking at here is what Russ did back in 2020, right? When Let Russ Cook really took off because he started the season super duper hot. 71% completion percentage. His average yards per gained attempt was 8.5 yards, which means every time he threw the football, they picked up an average of 8.5 yards when it was completed. 2,500 yards, 28 TDs, and 8 interceptions. But it's the second half of the season where things just went downhill. Completion percentage dropped by 5 points. He was getting less than 2 yards fewer per attempt. 1,600 yards, just 12 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. Let Russ cook. I know it's cliche, but it's the best way to put it. When you trade all that to get Russell Wilson, I fully expect the offense to be tailored around Russell Wilson wanting to push the football deep, a little bit of fast tempo offense, and not Pete Carroll hand it off to Marshawn Lynch, right? I think that is the old Russell Wilson Seahawks offense, and under Hackett, you're going to see what you saw for just snippets of time in Seattle, but never over the course of an entire season. But spam, let's ride if you want Russell Wilson to cook. I think that's going to be my new slogan this entire season. Broncos Country, let's ride. The guy's a little corny. We got to call a spade, but he's really good at football, so we're going to overlook it. Spam, let's ride if you want to see Russell Wilson cook in 2022. Like I was saying, though, referring to the trade, you gave up a lot for this guy. 2 first-round picks, a pair of second-round picks, a 5th, 3 players. You gave up all those assets. I sure hope the plan is to tailor the offense around him. He is a veteran quarterback, which is a distinct difference, I think, than if you were to go out and somehow get like Deshaun Watson, Kyler Murray in terms of where they are in their career. When you've got a 33-year-old quarterback, you know what he is. You know who he is. You know his strengths, what works well, where he thrives, and what gets the best out of him. And that's why you tailor your offense around a player you gave up so much to get. So I think you absolutely should be tailoring everything around Russell Wilson. Bend over backwards for the guy. Because you did for a trade, you know he's the real deal. He's a top 10 quarterback. Please make sure he is a part of every conversation in terms of what the offense should look like with a new head coach and a new offense being installed. Coming up next on the show, Von Miller. He spoke about the Broncos and where he kind of stands on this team and how he's got a soft spot in his heart for this team. But first, I want to tell everyone watching about Aura, our proud sponsor today. Here's a great thing and a great benefit about Aura. They give you real near-time alerts on suspicious credit inquiries. So what does that mean exactly? Well, let's say someone hacks your credit card and you're like producer Marshall right now, who had his credit card hacked, and they put a bunch of bills and dumped some hotel stuff on him in a hotel in Portland when he's never even been to Oregon. Well, thanks to Aura, they're going to make sure that never happens to you. Plus, they're offering Broncos Country a 14-day free trial when you go to aura.com/chatsports. That link's in the comments and the description of today's show. Let's talk about Von Miller now. Let's get to this half of the story because he shared his thoughts to Kyler Newman from the Denver Post about the 2022 Broncos and whatnot. And he had some very nice things to say. Here's what Von said. This team is going to be great. It's bittersweet that I won't be here to be a part of it because I've still got orange and blue in my heart, and it will stay that way forever. I mean, we've kind of known this about Von Miller for quite some time. You know what I'm saying? He was upset when he got traded to the Rams last year. If they didn't win a Super Bowl, he never would have liked that trade whatsoever. But ultimately, I'm sure he's happy that all that went down. But still, in the moment, he was not happy about leaving the Broncos, even if they were not on a course to make the playoffs. So how about this for you guys? Type 58, his jersey number, not 40. No, that's gypsy stuff. Type 58, his real number, in the comments right now if you want Von Miller to retire as a Bronco. He signed a 6-year contract with the Bills. I don't think he's going to play 6 years with the Bills. Hopefully he's able to come back, even if it's just a one-day contract, retire with the team that he's going to be going into the Hall of Fame for. More on Von Miller. Let's look at this quote. Free agency comes, and I want to be a Ram. I want to be a Buffalo Bill. I want to go back to the Denver Broncos. I love the Dallas Cowboys. Everything just happened so fast. I go with the Bills, and I start thinking about the type of the wonderful things I can do with this team. And, yeah, a lot of wonderful things you can do with $120 million. Now, I don't think he's going to see really close to that full amount when he signed that 6-year contract. 51 of it was guaranteed, so I kind of look at this as like a 3-year contract. And what's 50 divided by 3? I mean, like 12-ish million a season, somewhere in that range. I think that's more along the lines of what you expected. 12.5. Yeah, I'm a genius. $12.5 million over 3 years. That's really what this contract is here. Now, ultimately, George Paton went with Randy Gregory, right? The Broncos signed Gregory on March 15th, which important dates here, 2 days before Von Miller signed with the Rams. I'll never really know what was going on between Paton and Von Miller's reps in terms of if they were ever actually close to striking a deal to bring him back with those 2 picks with the Rams, plus, some Lombardi Trophy action. But still, ultimately, they wanted to go young. They wanted to reset a little bit with Randy Gregory. Now, when you compare what they did last season head-to-head, Von Miller had the better year. I don't think there's much of an argument here. 9.5 sacks compared to 6 for Randy Gregory. Granted, he played in 3 more games, but he was much more productive, and especially down the stretch for LA once he kind of got his feet underneath him and he figured out what the Rams defense was all about. He took off going into the postseason and throughout the entire postseason. But if you guys had to pick one of these edge rushers, who would you go with? Would you rather the Broncos have Randy Gregory right now or Von Miller? There's a huge reason for Von Miller in terms of nostalgic and history and whatnot. But personally, I would go with Randy Gregory because of the contract. You signed him to a 5-year, $70 million deal with $28 million guaranteed, which means at worst, it's a 2-year, $28 million contract. He gets $14 a year essentially, and you don't have much dead cap after that. Or if he's awesome, you got him for a bargain. You got him for $70 million, which is about half of what the Bills paid Von Miller, and he is way lighter on the age department. So I think overall Randy Gregory's contract, while he has not been nearly as effective or as proven as Von Miller, it's enough to make me swing that direction. All right, that's going to do it for us on today's show. I appreciate all of you guys who watched and tuned in. We'll see you later with more Broncos news and rumors.